Canada faces huge challenges in a globalizing world in which power relationships are shifting, I think, to an extent over the next decade, 2 decades, to an extent that Canadians haven't really focused on. And we tend to think about the U.S. bilateral relationship as our most important relationship, and focus a lot of our attention on the problems in that relationship rather than the opportunities in the rest of the world. The problem in the U.S. relationship is that the border is getting thicker, that NAFTA, which had a major impact in its time, has become outdated by the internet, by other factors going on in the world, like global supply chains. And Canadians tend to look at this and say, let's just persuade the Americans that we can fix NAFTA, that we can fix the thick border, which is something we've had to live with since 2001. And so the paper basically says, well, we should do those things, but we can't expect much interest on the part of the Americans. Where we have to go is to an area that does interest the Americans, and that is a strategic initiative to extend high-quality, comprehensive free trade agreements across the Pacific. It has a strategic value that attracts Americans because it basically, if successful, convinces Asians and comforts Asians by signaling to China that the Asian region is not China's backyard. The other key part of this initiative, known as the Trans-Pacific Partnership, and which has had no airtime in Canada yet at all, is that 8, possibly 9, some of them small, but some of them maybe as large as Japan, are involved in these negotiations, and that we risk being left out. The criterion for membership in these negotiations is that we are at the outset willing to talk about everything. And that's what everybody, including participating, which includes the United States, has indicated they are willing to do. My paper makes 3 principal arguments. One is that we should become much bolder and more strategic in how we think about the U.S. relationship. The second argument is that, and that is in line with that, is therefore fix NAFTA by joining the TPP. The third argument is don't sit back passively in climate change discussions. We should move to best practice policy in Canada, which I think is a carbon tax, which can be set at a low level so that Canadian industry is not disadvantaged. The great advantage of adopting a carbon price in Canada is that it removes all the uncertainty that Canadian businesses face right now and who are saying, give us certainty. Our politicians seem to find the status quo very comfortable. We risk actually being seen by Trans-Pacific Partnership potential partners as just not serious. Another risk is that if we're left out, we get discriminated against because the agreements, the liberalizing agreements, are among the partners who are participating. The third risk is very much one from the U.S., but also from the Europeans, that is called green protectionism. That with the sort of unclear climate change policies that we have in Canada, and this sort of, well, we'll follow the Americans when they're ready, basically opens us to the risks of being told that we're not doing enough. And exporters facing tariffs that are now called green tariffs, that are levied against countries whose carbon pricing and regulatory regimes are considered to be more lax than those in the United States. The TPP would help us fix NAFTA, and it would open up a large agreement which would include a number of very desirable Asian markets. I'm Wendy Dobson. Thank you for watching. This is the School of Public Policy.